Welcome to the Marriage and Motherhood Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Perda. I'm a life and marriage coach for moms, wife, mom of 3, and I'm also an Aries, and for my fellow human design nerds, a sacral manifesting generator. This podcast is for women who want to be happier in their marriage as they navigate their journey through motherhood, even if you're like me and you weren't shown how while growing up. Inside, we're going to be talking about breaking generational cycles when it comes to how to handle conflict in healthy ways, redefining motherhood your way, and prioritizing your well-being, because here, we believe that women don't have to sacrifice their happiness to be a great mom. And a quick note to mamas listening with kids around, you may want to pop your earbuds in because nothing is left unsaid on this show, which means there may be times where something I say isn't meant for little ears. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Marriage and Motherhood Podcast. Today, I'm going to be talking to you if you feel unhappy in your marriage, if you are feeling unsupported, unappreciated, disconnected, then this episode is for you. So today is all about trying on a new belief. If you are feeling particularly disconnected in your marriage, whether that's feeling like you're doing everything and you could really use some more support, but you're just not getting it, or you're doing a lot of things and you don't feel appreciated, or you just feel like you guys are doing life in parallel instead of together. So you're more in that co-parenting roommate situation rather than a happy, thriving couple that you wish you could be, the couple that you really saw you being when you said I do and when you decided to have kids, and now the kids are here and life is busy and things have changed a lot, right? Super normal. And it doesn't have to be that way for the foreseeable future. You can change this. And today I'm going to teach you a new belief to try on and see what that does for you and your relationship. Okay. Now, this belief here, I'm just going to preface this with, you may roll your eyes at it. And I'm perfectly fine with that. But please keep listening because there is more behind it, okay? So the belief that I want you to try on is, what if you believed your partner actually wants you to be happy? What if you believed that your partner actually wants to be there for you and that they want to be the best damn partner they can be for you? Right? Okay, cue the eye roll. I get it. Yeah, I get it. And if you're not getting the support, the appreciation and the love and connection that you want from your partner, I want you to ask yourself why. Like, why do you think that is? Right? He chose or she chose, whoever your partner is, they chose to build a life with you. So at one point of your relationship, you believed that they wanted to put your happiness up as a priority for them. So if that's true, what do you think has led for you all to get to this place where you feel this way, where you feel like the relationship isn't a priority? Okay. Now insert what I call the rough draft method, where all the nasty thoughts come out, where you're like, well, my partner's an asshole. He just doesn't love me. He doesn't know how to love. He doesn't listen. Or maybe something, a little closer to home, like, I don't deserve it. I'm not worthy of it. I don't know. It's just not for me. Happiness is not for me, right? Whatever it is, that's your rough draft. And we're going to crumple it up like a piece of paper. We're going to toss it in the trash can and look deeper. Okay. Now, I want you to ask yourself, when did you stop getting the support, appreciation, and love that you wanted? So think back, when was the last time I remember consistently receiving all my needs met? Okay. Now, if you've never gotten your needs met, then it's time to connect with your partner and communicate. Okay. Share what you need, let them know why it matters to you, what it does for you to have your needs met, and fill them in on what it takes to help you be happier and feel more satisfied in the relationship, to the point where you desire to connect with them, and even mention who you become as a result of having your needs met by them and what that means for them, right? What does that mean? Does that mean that you're going to have more fun with them? Does that mean you're going to be kinder to them? Does that mean you're going to have more sex with them? Like, really spell it out, because sometimes our partners can be a little dense. They focus on different things, whereas women in general tend to be better at sensing the finer specifics of relationships, right? Like we can sense when something's off a little bit more. We can be more in tune with what our partner needs, right? Whereas they're in tune with other things. So if your partner isn't meeting your needs, take the time, take a look at what you've been teaching them throughout the life of your relationship. Okay. And this can look like taking everything on for yourself, right? The whole like, I got it. Don't worry. I can do this. No, thank you. Right? Essentially, when you're saying that, you're saying, I don't need help. Stop offering it. I'm good. And so what is a very normal reaction to hearing that over time is that you stop offering it, right? Like, oh, okay, I have confidence that they can handle this and I don't need to offer it. They'll ask if they want help. Okay. Or maybe they're helping you and you have something to say about how they're doing it, whether it's not to your standard, timely enough, good enough, whatever, right? So that's criticism, even though you're maybe thinking that it's feedback. Like I certainly have thought that in the past, that I'm giving feedback. I'm helping them help me better. But if it's delivered in the form of criticism and they don't take criticism very well, they can decide to not do it anymore, right? Like, okay, well, I'm not helping to be criticized. So if you want it done your way, then I'll just let you do it your way. All right. Or maybe they're complimenting you, saying you look beautiful. I love how that dress looks on you, or, whatever. And you dismiss it. Maybe because you're uncomfortable with compliments. Like I was that 100%. It was like, it was kind of like the opposite of Velcro, like when you stick that Velcro ball and it sticks to you, right? Like I was the complete opposite of that. It was like a rubber ball hitting a ball. It's like, phew, like I wanted to go back. Like I was not comfortable receiving compliments whatsoever. And when we do that, that is actually not us being humble, much against what we've been taught growing up as, quote unquote, good girls and polite people. It's actually not a good thing. It's not being humble. It's actually rejecting someone else's well-meaning gesture and reflection of like, hey, I see you. And when we do that, we teach our partners, we don't need this. We don't like this. So stop doing it, right? And then what happens when we stop getting these compliments that we used to get all of the time? We're like, where did that go? Do they not find me desirable anymore? Do they not like me anymore? Do they not even notice me anymore? Right? Are you starting to pick up on how we teach other people how to treat us, right? I feel like I am constantly having this conversation with my kids. Like, you're teaching your friends how to treat you. You're teaching your friends not to hang out with you when you do that. You're teaching your friends to keep doing this if you don't speak up, right? Like, same thing in your marriage. What we do has a consequence, right? And so other things include not speaking up when you're overwhelmed. Like, raise your hand if you are one of those people who don't realize they're overwhelmed until they're overwhelmed, right? Like, that was totally me. And in fact, I actually want to celebrate my growth because this past weekend, I had a family photo shoot. And normally I'm like running around like a chicken with its head cut off prior to getting to the photo shoot because there's just so much, right? I got to get ready. I got to do my makeup. I got to do my hair. I got to, get my outfit ready, see if it needs to like be steam ironed or whatever. I got to get the kids just all of these things, right? We got to eat breakfast. Kids got to get dressed. Husband's got to get dressed. And I got to get all my props ready because I like to do like a twofer with my family photos. I like to do family photos plus like photos for my business, right? So I got to make sure I got all my props ready to take business photos. And then we got to go there, right? And so in the past, it has been very stressful. I usually end up yelling. I usually end up being really short with my husband. My kids aren't happy with me because I'm not happy with them because they're not cooperating. They're taking their sweet time when we got to get out the door, right? Because every minute eats into our session time, right? So this time around, I can tell that I've grown as a person because even though none of the things changed, like none of the variables changed, right? Kids still needed to get dressed. They still needed to eat. I still needed to get ready. All these things still needed to be done. But here's the thing. Not only am I more resilient, I am more willing to accept help. So I asked my oldest to help out. I asked my husband to help out so that I can do what I needed to do. And we were all working together versus the thought that I usually have in the past is I can do it faster, easier, better. So I'm just going to do it. And I don't want to burden anyone because this is like my thing. And when things don't turn out or I'm running late, I have like this anxiety and that comes out as frustration onto other people because if I see them not doing what I think they should be doing, right? Key phrase, what I think they should be doing. I get stressed out and I get upset, right? And then on the car right there, we're not this like happy, joyful family that's about to be photographed. We're this very stressed out, high-strung family who probably needs some space from each other, right? But this time was different. Okay. So if you are this type who like takes on everything because you don't want to bother anyone, you want to be a burden because you're too understanding of what other people are experiencing and you're getting really overwhelmed and it's spilling over into your relationships with your family, with your partner, this is another way that you're teaching your partner, right? You're not letting them know that you have needs. And so they think that you don't have needs. They probably think you're just like acting crazy because there's a lot to do versus giving them the opportunity to step up for you. Okay. And then another one, like kind of along the same vein, is you're not partnering with them as a team to ensure that everyone's doing well, including yourself. Right? So for me, I was like, hey, I need help. I don't want to be stressed out. I don't want to be rushing everyone. These are the things that need to get done. What can you do? And we worked together as a team, and that felt so much better to me. I felt like I could truly just focus on doing whatever it was that I was doing versus doing what I was doing and then like mulling over all of these other details that need to get done and feeling behind. Okay. Now, this belief that I mentioned earlier is, what if your partner actually wants you to be happy? Right? I want you to think about that. What if it's not that they're intentionally not helping you? What if they're just in their own heads, in their own world, and all they're waiting for is for you to say something, to request support, to say, hey, however we're doing things right now is not working for me. And that has led to why I've been so stressed out lately, why I'm too tired to connect at the end of the night, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? What if they just don't get it because it's been kept in your brain? Right? A lot of times we have so much going on behind the scenes that we forget to actually communicate it, which ends up with us assuming that they should just get it. They should just notice that we're overwhelmed. They should just notice that we're not feeling our best. They should just notice that we're cranky. But what if they just don't notice because they've got everything that's in their life, in their scope, taking up their brain space? So this is where you really had to advocate for yourself and bring notice to them. Let them know, like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. And this just makes me think of like how when we don't talk to our kids, we don't really know what's going on in their lives, especially if they go to school, right? They spend all these hours at school and we get like a little glimpse into how their day went. And that's it, right? It's kind of the same thing. Unless they disclose what's happening, we don't know. We see their grades, and hopefully we're not hearing from the school about like behavioral issues, right? But that's it. So yeah, we can prompt questions and whatnot, but as females, we're most likely the type of person who is better at nurturing relationships. Okay, if you want to, you should go back to a previous episode that talks about how women are more relationship focused, okay, and men are not. It's not that they're incapable of it, but we're more hypersensitive to relationships. Okay, like just thinking back to like the hunter-gatherer days, right? They're very much all about getting the thing done, very purpose-driven, whereas we're more like, is everybody okay? What can I do for you? And so on and so forth. So if you want to, I highly recommend go checking out that one. But back to what I was sharing, sometimes we just have to get out of our own way and just say, there's nothing wrong with bringing it to their attention. We're not bringing them a problem. We're making them aware of reality. Okay? It does not serve them for us to be unhappy, right? Like the whole like happy wife, happy life thing, like yes, but also happy spouse, happy house, right? Like it's not just our happiness that matters. Okay? So I wanted to mention a reel that I thought was hilarious on Instagram. If I can find it again, I will link it. But basically, on the same vein of our partner wants us to be happy, they want to connect with us. This reel is this mom who tells the dad, hey, can you go get the kids ready for bed? And then we can hang out and connect afterwards. And then she winks at him, right? And then you see the dad like hurrying the process, like not even really fully reading the book, just like super rushing it to get to her because he's so wanting to connect. He wants that time together, right? And let's be real, like sex is a really important aspect of marriage. And that's how men, if you're married to a man, feel most connected. For us, it's emotional intimacy and openness and feeling supported. For them, it's that physical union that really makes a big difference for them. And they need that in order to feel open, to be vulnerable, and to be more nurturing. Whereas women tend to be the opposite, right? We need more support, nurturing, emotional availability, and all of that in order to feel safe and open, to be physically vulnerable, right? Like the act of sex is way more physically vulnerable for women than it is for men. And so it kind of works in tandem. You can't just have like, okay, once you do this, then I'll do this. Like then everyone will be unhappy and feel disconnected. It needs to happen together. So this is why you need to work together as partners to figure out, okay, well, this is what I need in order to do this. And then they can share, this is what I need in order to do that. And then you guys do it at the same time. Okay. So in that reel, he just like moves everything out of the way, does everything that he needs to do to connect because he knows what is needed. Right. So if what would change if you're like, I believe that my partner wants to be connected with me. He wants me to be happier. What would that change for you? Would you just hand over the manual and be like, okay, you want me to be happy? Here is how you can make me happy, right? Not in a sarcastic way, not in a way that counts towards the rough draft method where you just like verbal diarrhea everything and you vent and all of that, right? Like you want to give them the final edit, well, as final as possible, right? Obviously, it's never going to really be perfect because we're human, but we want to make sure that what we're communicating is productive and effective, right? If you're criticizing them and making backhanded comments, like nobody's going to want to listen to that. They're going to get defensive. They're going to shut down. Maybe they're going to clap back, right? That's not at all productive. Okay. So save your rough draft method for girlfriends for fun, right? In your journal or wherever you like to release all that stuff and then get to work. Okay. Like actually think like what would actually help my marriage thrive and then do that. Okay. That's your final draft. Now, if you are wondering, where do I go from here? The question for yourself is to figure out what's preventing us from connecting. Okay. As moms, our mental load is heavy. Okay. Now, if you haven't listened to the podcast with Monica Tanner, I highly recommend that because in that episode, we share how important it is to communicate all the things that you need in order to be open to connecting like in a physical intimacy type of way. Okay. If you don't share that, the approach that they try, if they try any approach at all, is not going to sit well with you. And you may end up rejecting because you're not ready for it. Okay. And that can, if you keep doing it that way, right? If both of you keep like misfiring and miscommunicating and just not getting on the same page, it will only create more disconnect to the point where it just feels awkward and no one feels like trying anymore. Okay. And that's how you really solidify that co-parenting roommate situation that we desperately want to get you away from. Okay. I want you, it's really important to me for you and your family to have your marriage happy and thriving, to feel connected. Okay. Because connection is the foundation for your entire relationship. It affects how you argue. It affects how you problem solve. It affects your relationship resilience. It is the thing that needs to be there, okay? Starting with friendship and then romantically, obviously, okay? So another thing to consider before I forget, right? I'm just like reading my notes here. Maybe your partner has needs that aren't being met, right? A lot of times we can focus on what we're not getting, right? I'm unhappy because they don't do this and they don't do that. And, you know, all these like issues that you have with your partner. But if you can have issues with your partner, then the same goes for your partner. They can have issues with you as well. And maybe you are unaware of that because they haven't said anything, right? So maybe they're keeping to themselves because they're unhappy, because they feel like the relationship isn't fulfilling their needs. And that's why they're choosing to live, parallel life with you as co-parenting roommates instead of being in it together as a team. Okay. So you see this belief of, what if my partner actually wants to connect with me, has you considering, oh, what is stopping us from being connected? What is getting in the way? What needs to happen for us to reignite that connection? It has you more of going more into a problem-solving mode versus woe is me, I'm sad, I'm lonely, I feel isolated, he doesn't love me anymore. That is valid, very valid, and not helpful. Okay. Obviously, feel your feelings, right? No spiritual bypassing here. And if you're not familiar with that term, basically means just like trying to like positive think your way out of experiencing your emotions. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying acknowledge you're not happy and come up with your choices. Like, what are my choices here? What is the challenge that I am here to overcome? What is my goal? What do I need to overcome to meet that goal? And how can I partner with my spouse to get there? Right? Okay. It's really important for you both to figure this out because it's impacting how your home feels, right? If your home feels tense, your kids feel it. No matter how much you smile your way through it or pretend everything is all fine and dandy, vibes don't lie, okay? You ever go into a room and you're like, ooh, feels weird here. Feels like there's a lot of tension here. And no one has said anything, right? Your kids are very perceptive, all right? So if you want to work on this, go through those questions, journal it out, have conversations, create opportunities to connect with your partner. Do something other than just feel sad and frustrated and disconnected, okay? Take that, harness it, and say, we've been connected before. We can get back to that place. What needs to happen? Okay, so the belief again. What if my partner wants to connect with me? What if my partner wants me to be happier? And go from there. Have those really impactful conversations because it will change the whole dynamic of your relationship. And you deserve that. You deserve to feel connected and loved and desired and appreciated by your partner and vice versa, right? They deserve that as well. They deserve the best partner out of you just as much as you deserve for them to step up and be the best partner for you. That's it for this episode. So go try on that belief. Let me know how it goes for you. Reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram or wherever you want to contact me. And I hope that this opens up a whole new world for you. I really hope that this changes the whole landscape of your marriage because you deserve it. You deserve to have your needs. You deserve to have them met. All you got to do is communicate them. All right? Your partner wants you to be happy. Sit with that and carry on. I'll catch you here next week. Bye. If you like this podcast, I invite you to reach out to work together because how things are right now doesn't have to be how things are for the rest of your life. I'm here to support you in identifying what small shifts you can make so you can improve your communication and connection with your husband while creating a fulfilling life. This means getting specific feedback for your unique life and relationship so that you can focus your effort on what actually creates more joy and connection in your life. Thank you so much for listening to the Marriage and Motherhood Podcast. I hope that this episode helped you deepen your relationship with your husband and, more importantly, with yourself. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a second to leave a review. See you back here next week. Bye.